Yeah, so I'm super happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me and coming out. This is odd. I've never read in this kind of formation before, this long phallic column with one ball over here. So, I mean, you can live a very happy life with one. So, but it is very phallic. It's like it's blade with one end of the hilt broken off. I was super happy to hear everyone at the open mic too. That was really like talent packed and awesome. So thank you. And I'm happy to read before Katrina, who's a friend. And thank you for that nice introduction. That was nice. Yeah, so I will read from a few poems from this book, which came out in the fall, called Cruise Missile Liberals from Nightwood Editions. Couple of things. They're there for sale for dirt cheap prices. All the proceeds for this book go to an organization in Toronto called the Red Door Family Shelter. So I don't really make any money from it. And these books too, if you want to buy those, they'll go right to Tree. So how about that? Purchase them. Just support the beautiful people here. It's so nice and amazing. Anyway, okay, yeah. What time is it?
Time's up.
Okay. Sure. Okay. This first poem is called Market Forces. In baby Huey's boosting esprit de corps, the natural barbaric yop finds an unsettling increase. Mangled, raw, throaty. A horse nosing the lump in hay for apple cores, tuned by leet speak, Mojibake, Lang, a nerd's IQ, and pinched commitment to holding out for a cool billion. This nervy, self-assured performance is more bank heist than stroll. But while it's got a barrel pointed to your temple, with 10 wiggling fingers in your pocket, it's whispering sibilant, seductive nothings in your eager ear. This was the offering burnt by passing drones that we've been gasping for here in the silvered privilege of our 30-floor high-rises, the same stalagmites that murdered the lakefront. Baby Huey shows more natural dexterity than a bored Gen Z tween, illuminating a Snapchat face swap. If a Gen Zer were steeped in Eliot, Acker, Baudelaire, Genet, precocious sneer, enfant terrible, yet sure-footed as an eminence grise on a farewell tour, spooked by visions of the grave. Panoptic, as cold as a baton, and remorseless as water throbbed into an orifice. It contains all the scribbled, scorching anger of the falsely accused, like the black-masked oracle sending a Molotov through a Starbucks. LEDs bleep in the splices, hijacking the lines, all thugged out, Crips textured, yet Wall Street iconic. One hears a bell clanging over the uproarious late-age stock exchange. One senses more unicorns disrupting our Baroque commons. Is it stunt sincerity or something beyond both? Is it common vulgarity or nursery rhyme goth? I'm intimidated, awed, predicated by each cagey, wry gesture in this bravura thing, which surely remakes the very impulse tugging me back. Robots could have made it, will make it, in the unemployed future, but the crucial thing is they haven't. This is pre-AI automation, conjured from a mind living a reality augmented before we knew what AR really meant. Forget securities. It threads an imprint gouged by pins and pre-authorized signatures, containing your childhood dreams in a code doxed by lay public and continental theorists. It's a terms and conditions you actually want to accept. It's a bitten lip, pendulant on the face of your abuser. Did you bite back? Is it written, confessed? It's gaudy, day-drunk, reckless, but tempered by an AA confession, head swimming. Count the references to white supremacy, scary and immoral. and the ardent chants of the post-McWorld Marxist protester, a meme you won't want shared on your walls but anarchic and glimmering on your flat-screen skull. Ambient, certainly dull, and as functionary as prayer, it ignites the old-school faith cooled off by spirituality, banished to narthex purgatories. One imagines yoga poses for the normcore and unadorned, impossibly brainy, the alchemical kids with gold teeth. Hold your applause, goddamn. Anywho, without further ado, I'm going to read another poem. That was 3 minutes or so. No. Yeah, 3 minutes, okay. So this book, it doesn't have really a project behind it per se, as some do, but there's a lot of different poems. There's some constructed material, and there's some lyric poems, very traditional things in it as well. But a lot of the book, maybe all of it, is through different voices. So that's all. And so this poem I kind of see as kind of a weird funhouse mirror into some sense to a sense of privilege. This is called Survey. I have a loving mother and father and baby sister and girlfriend, and I am surrounded by people who respect me and take what I say seriously and meditate on the things I say to them and want to know my take on things and think my feelings are important. And when I drive through the slanting autumn light in my car, I think about all the aching leaves withering into next winter. And when I get home, my girlfriend puts her arms around my neck, and we eat and talk about our days, and the light is slanting, and then some music and wine or television, which I watch without guilt, and then work on things people value and respect, and the work goes well because it is honest. And the phone rings, and it is my loving mother and father, and they say, "We love you." And I say, "Where is my baby sister?" And she comes on the phone and tells me she drew a picture of me driving through the slanting autumn light in my car. And I'm smiling and going home to my girlfriend, who is pretty and intelligent and someone I rely upon when things are tough. So yes, I would say I strongly agree. I said, hold the... Thank you. That's very nice of you. Yes. Okay, I'll read one more from this book and then maybe a little bit new and then back. We'll see. See about the time. This poem is called Things Were Better When You Were on Fire. Grit and perseverance, patience and resilience, the clock's sudden, palpable sweep. And here's Marcy, 26 and scanning jobs, early enough to make one last attempt, late enough to crave release. Another chance to ruin this ridiculous July sunset. She thinks maybe if she added proofreading to her profile or cropped her headshot another 15 pixels, things might improve. Gigs would flood her inbox, requests for media multiply. If she went on a tear of endorsements, say, why not? Or connected with all the faces she once barely knew. But there is no inbox more empty, she knows, than LinkedIn's. Hovering her cursor over an acquaintance, afraid to click for fear of the inevitable alert. Underemployed, between work, debt-racked, itching for another donut from the dwindling pack, she's gained another 15 contacts from worry alone. But there's my diploma, she thinks. I'm so damn lucky. All her unfinished projects lurk in a folder marked C. The cat snarls at an empty dish. To save on laundry, she's wearing a Halloween dress. It's been 6 years since she's seen a dentist. She heads to Facebook, seeing red. A friend's just won a contest. Another, a cover story for the country's Enbridge rag. A fuckboy says he's earned a grant for $25K naturally. And the rest is just murder, rifles, rape, and incest. Same story. Another ping, chime, or beep, she sighs, and I'm going off for good. She puts her fingers to her temple, pulls the fleshy trigger, falls back on a bed of donut sprinkles, cat hair bundles, her period-stabbing shiv notes up her middle. The neighbors fucking up above her sound like furniture assembling. Squeaky wheels getting the D. So is it me, she wonders? Am I too meek? Too much the mouse, the faint scratch of claw on hardwood no one wants to hear? Or is there something sinister, witchy in the air? A hex, pin cushions in my yarny likeness, preventing me from doing something meh at best. I should have chosen a practical career. I should have seen this coming. After all, my real skills, self-pity. My hobbies, procrastination, tearing to the pith of some sexual catastrophe. She raises her phone, ponders taking a conciliatory selfie. Maybe the flood of babes, queens, and bays might do the trick, but what the lens reveals is obviously ugly. The daily stamp of being what we never chose to be. I think I looked good at some point last week. How tired it is. Time to get acquainted with my privilege. It's time to eat an entire bag of Crispers. Time to kill myself one day, maybe. And then again, as if in crisp HD glory, she sees herself in 10 years looking back at the scene. Herself bolder, tougher, happier, clear-eyed and sinewy. But she's caught, bewildered, in the crazed nostalgia this woman has for her striving, even for her poverty. Those were sweet days, the New Vision says, when art and madness meant everything, when it was hard doing anything. Poor girl, keep burning just like this. And oh, how I've missed you in your wretchedness. Oh, so gorgeous. Oh, my darling. A vision so disgusting that Marcy wants to shriek. This might end it. I don't know. We'll see what the time goes. I'm going to read a little prose poem, which who knows how this will go. You might flood out immediately, and the phallus will become no longer erect. Anywho, this is called Reasons for My Success. I was not nice. I was not nice enough. I was not nice enough to the right people. My niceness was too casual. My niceness was designed for acquaintances and so had no lasting impact. I carried out acts of niceness too long ago for people to remember today. I expressed niceness too long ago for those distributing acts of niceness now. I grew weary of niceness in all its forms. I forgot the intention behind my niceness. I was not nice consistently or deliberately in public, so withdrew my general fit-for-acquaintance style niceness, a quality ready for all comers, to a shrinking circle of people I really did care about, for whom I could maintain the energy required of niceness, and for whom my niceness changed character, becoming intimate, or something not quite nice at all. My acts of niceness were spotty, irregular. When I attempted acts of niceness in public, I felt strange and inauthentic and growing in intensity. My acts of niceness cowed me. I felt hot and ashamed for my expressions of niceness, especially when those expressions were not acknowledged by their recipients. I felt expressing niceness made the objects of my niceness uncomfortable occasionally, or made these people for whom I was expressing niceness turn against me and categorize me as not nice. The people for whom I performed niceness were the wrong people insofar as they are today no longer in positions to perform public acts of reciprocal niceness, or they are not accustomed to expressing private acts of niceness, or they do not possess long memories, or they feel no need to reciprocate niceness, or at least not to me or to those like me, to people in my predicament. I fail to understand that I was and am not deserving of niceness, per se, or period. I fail to account for all the terrible things I said out loud and in private, usually while intoxicated and happy, thinking I was sharing niceness for the wasted months and years of my life when being nice was of fundamental importance to me. My acts of niceness not being public or consistent made others believe I did not wish to receive acts of niceness myself, that I was somehow above or uninterested in public acts of niceness, when in truth I crave them desperately. I was furthermore not nice in sufficient public and private degrees to people who interpreted my niceness to certain distasteful people as problematic. I was nice to people who are today irrelevant to public consideration. I was also nice to people who are not fit recipients for public niceness, for whom extending niceness was an ethical breach or a sign that my niceness was too fluid or generous despite my niceness being of a casual, passing nature, as mentioned. I was not nice to people who believe niceness must be parceled out judiciously, selectively to others who, by fact of their relationship or discipline or social standing, are deserving of public or private acts of niceness more than others, regardless of the overall volume of niceness being expressed. I was not nice enough to those who, through some history of being hurt or abused or drained, considered their own niceness a limited resource. I fail to be eligible for niceness from those who feel acts of niceness are made primarily for public consumption on momentous occasions and for a select group only. I was, paradoxically, too nice to make a fuss about those who were not nice, specifically to me, or to others with whom I held acquaintance or even friendship. I failed to reveal my private sense of injustice or hypocrisy, cruelty or betrayal in a public setting, and thus was categorized as someone who was not nice, though less not nice than if I had expressed the full storm of my emotional life, as then I would be not nice to a much more damaging, severe, irreparable degree. I failed to grasp how others could be nice in public to people they deem problematic or not nice, or insufficiently deserving in private, and thus I refrained from expressing niceness to those I was hurt or betrayed by systematically to my detriment. I failed to grasp that acts of niceness made in person are of lesser quality or importance to public acts of niceness made from a great distance and with far less intimacy. My niceness had limitations fit to my disposition and imaginary sense of self-worth. I failed to sustain the energy necessary for daily, weekly, consistent acts of niceness due to my body's aging, that stated sense of inauthenticity, a general weariness born out of failed applications and unnumbered rejections, the demands of dull and pitiless work, and a sense of injustice sprinkled throughout all public gestures. Resigning myself to not being nice or being deemed not nice, or not especially deserving of niceness, felt nice, bizarrely, but only for a few months, after which I again felt it would be nice to feel included in the worldly public exchange of niceness. But by then it was too late to re-enter with the same enthusiasm or trust as I felt when younger and less experienced with the vagaries of being nice. To measure my lack of suitability for niceness from others, I compiled a voluminous list of every person with whom I shared an acquaintance, correspondence, and or friendship, then wrote 3 to 7 reasons beside each in sharp bullet points, explaining why each person might not be nice to me, why they would not extend niceness to me, and why I deserve this withholding of niceness. This list included those who were closest to me, those who had extended niceness to me in the past, and why they had stopped doing so, and those who had never expressed niceness to me in the first place, and why this was the case and would continue to be so. The work of this list was decidedly not nice, and was intensely private and shameful, loaded with painful revelations and remembrances, though it felt nice in the same way a spanking feels nice, or a candlelit confession, or chores, or a punishment, or a sentence, the way a failing grade feels nice, or a reprimand at work, the way a traffic ticket or a dressing down by a superior feels nice. But it did not stop me from trying to think of newer, nicer things I could do for people to vindicate myself in their eyes and be the subject or object of nice expressions, once again or ever. Where I was headed with this list was an unliftable feeling of not niceness in my chest and not nice urge to sob. This list became my vocation, my sole hobby, which replaced my older hobbies and vocational activities that were, to my chagrin, bound up in dense, complex feelings of niceness, equilibrium, fairness, and withheld niceness, and so charged my nights after my not nice work was finished with a sense of purpose and clarity, a lack of generalized guilt, and a new sterling specificity regarding the shame I felt for myself and my failure to express niceness in adequate degree, quality, and amount. Using my list and knowing deeply that this was folly, I went on long campaigns of niceness, whereby, regardless of how it made me feel hollow or aggrieved, confused or impotent, I wrote relentless nice messages to people and performed niceness in public spaces, hoping these unrequested and unmitigated acts would cleanse my spleen and guilt. But they did not, for they burnt up like smoke, so to speak, cycling skyward to form billows that were, rather than recognizable in shape, as if emanating from any conscious mind, instead incomprehensible, chaotic. Neither nice nor not nice, but merely drifting wisps of vapor, empty of content or memory, clear and lovely as a glass held up to clouds filled with rain. Thank you for that. And that's it. Good night.